escaping the realm of darkness. The paranormal guys are on a quest to find the answers to the hard questions of where the normal meets the paranormal and the weird, and where the natural meets the unnatural. So grab your holy water, call your mama, and get ready for the Paranormal Guys podcast.
All right, we're back again, Steve, doing what we do best, the Paranormal Guys podcast. I have been very, very much enjoying the weather that's been going on lately. This does not feel like winter whatsoever. I know that this episode is going to be coming out around like April, but this is like at the end of February when we are doing this. Just so that people know, we usually always record a couple weeks in advance, way ahead of time, so that we can put out as many good episodes as we possibly can, because we go through the editing process and everything like that. So, Steve, isn't this weather just awesome for the month that we're here?
It's 53 degrees today and sunny in Chicago.
So is there a global? Yeah, is there a global warming? Is it
I
true?
like global warming. I like it.
I like it too.
I think we should have more
of it. I mean,
yeah.
Is it a natural thing, or is it something that we as human beings have done to this world? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not very well educated in that. We should really have somebody on here about that in the near future to talk about global warming. But one thing I learned about that is that there's one group that has an opinion and they say they're right. Mm-hmm. And another group has an opinion and they say they're right. But that leaves us there in the middle wondering who's right or wrong.
Nobody knows what they're talking about when it comes
I don't think they do. I really don't. Me personally, I think it's a natural thing that happens in the earth.
All I know is that we have X number of days to live our lives, and we don't know what X is. But when you can go outside and enjoy a nice day in February, and that's I know that's good.
Right. Yeah, that is good. I mean, enjoy, and you're right. Nobody knows what X is.
But then when the iceberg melts and falls into the ocean, and then there's a big tsunami that takes out like New York, and it's 50 degrees in February, I don't know if I'd still be feeling happy about it. But
right.
That's not happening right now.
Right.
They keep saying it's going to happen. They keep saying, the end of the world is in 12 years, and then 12 years goes by and nothing,
Yeah, I mean, Al Gore came out with this in the 1990s, and he said it was going to end like really soon. Mm. Well, I'm still here, man.
No, the only thing that ended was his political career.
Definitely. That thing took a... But we're not going to get all political.
So, and not to be political, but he was wrong.
Yeah. So one of the things I actually wanted to talk about, Steve, in the past 2 weeks, I have been getting a lot of emails from people who are reaching out to us. A lot of emails to my email, Neal at gravesideparanormal.com.
Oh, I've been getting them.
Asking me questions about this and that. I'm not going to give out people's personal information or anything like that. But I want you to know that I try to get back to each and every one of you in a timely manner. So if any of you really feel that you want to get to us, feel free to reach out, Neal, Neal, at gravesideparanormal.com, or Steve at gravesideparanormal.com, or info at gravesideparanormal.com. You can also go to our website, which is gravesideparanormal.com. You can check that out. That's our parent company of the Paranormal Guys podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you who sends me out, asks me questions, or if you have a haunt, you got something going on. We're located in central Illinois, near the Chicagoland area. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if I can get to everybody's place that is haunted if it's outside of the state. I do have a regular full-time job, but I am going to be retiring soon. So I can actually go to more places. But if you do have something, if we can help you in any way, feel free to email us,
Right. And, for the community that watches us on YouTube, guys, start leaving comments because, if it's something that you're experiencing, maybe some of the other viewers are too, just share some comments and let's get a conversation going,
Right. And one of the things is one thing I notice on the things that we do, like when we go out to investigate certain places, Steve, what I like to do is like when we rent out these houses or these buildings or whatever that people rent them out, like we're going to be talking about the Boyd House today.
Mhm.
Okay. We're going to be talking about the Boyd House today in Minnesota, which might be one of the places that we are going to probably rent out and check out in Minnesota, but it would probably be in November if we did that.
Okay.
What I use these things for as an investigator, I think of them as classrooms
Mhm.
to learn trends. What we do is we go to these places and we learn from it because I can't just walk into someone's house. So what we do is I like to think of the places like a Monroe house or a Boyd house, or we're going to be going to the Lake County Jail in March. We're going to be going there. So we rent these things out. And when it comes to pass that there's someone who has a serious issue, we're learning by going to these places, by following the trends that are going on inside these places. Like if you start noticing certain feelings or certain things happen inside these houses and certain evidence that you gather, you're able to distinguish what possibly a certain haunting is. Is it an intelligent haunting? Is it a poltergeist haunting? Is there something demonic, which we're really hoping it's not?
Mhm.
So that you can also, if it's a residual haunting. So we learn by going to a lot of these places. Would you agree, Steve?
Yeah, and one of the things I think we've learned, and I don't know if it's all the time, but I get suspicious when I hear a little kid's voice, because every time it's been like something pretending to be a little kid,
Right.
every time that we have experienced it. So now when I go into a place and there's like a little kid voice talking, I'm like,
Yeah, because
I bet
take
it's a
for instance,
demon.
take for instance the Irish Legend. We've been to the Irish Legend quite a few times. There's a story about a little boy named Adam that's down in the basement area.
Yeah.
Sure, we do get a little boy's voice down in that area. No doubt about it. We've caught it on EVPs. We caught it on the SB7. One of the things that's on one of our recordings is I said, Adam, are you there? And you hear him say, I'm sick. It's a little boy's voice. What it is, though, it's a manipulative spirit to lure you in, to continue to talk with it, so that you become so wanting and needing to talk to this thing that it entices you that much to make you believe something that continues to bring you in. And that's what a lot of these manipulative spirits do to people. And then people start to get an obsession. And then sometimes that obsession leads to what, Steve?
An oppression.
An oppression and possession.
Right.
Yes. Cool. And so that our local people know, we are in the process. I'm trying to come up with new ideas for the tours this year. I have one idea that I'm in the back of my mind. I'm not going to come out with it yet, but we're going to be, of course, we're not going to be doing any summertime tours this year because, like I said, we are going out to do more media stuff for the paranormal guys this year, Steve. So we're going to be out there trying to represent ourselves and talk to more people, meet more people. We're going to try to get people's stories. We're going to try to record people's stories while we're at some of these events that we're going to be doing. Like, take, for instance, by the time this comes out, we will already be at Spirits by the Spring with Mr. Nick Sarlo. But we are in June. We are going to be going to All American Hauntings or American Hauntings, the Troy Taylor one. I'm very excited about that one. I never met the man. I'd love to meet the man. I think it'd be really cool to meet the guy. So we're really excited about a lot of these things that are going to be coming up. But you know what we always do? Let's get into the news, Steve.
The news.
Now, this story here is weird and crazy. A man tattoos a marriage certificate on his arm. Really? A tattoo parlor in Kang Koi, Central Thailand, Saraburi province, recently shared a photo of one of their latest projects. A life-size copy of a marriage certificate tattooed on a person's forearm. Well, a man's forearm. Apparently, the client wanted to surprise his wife with a unique proof of his love for her. So he asked the tattoo artist to permanently ink his official marriage certificate on his arm. Val spent 8 hours in the tattooing chair, but he claims it was all worth it to make his beloved wife happy. Well, Not me. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's something I'm not doing. I'm not getting a certificate put on my arm. Steve, would you do something like that?
No, you know what? You know who would do that?
Who?
A beta male.
A beta male?
Yeah. Look, you own me. I'm yours forever.
Yeah. You know what? What happens if you get into an argument? All right.
Right.
These things happen, man. And
sometimes people get divorced.
Yeah. You know, like this sounds like a very young
Cross your name
marriage.
out and put in the next person's name.
Yeah, because this sounds like a very young marriage. And you
Oh,
know what?
man.
I've been married almost 30 years. Almost 30 years. And don't get me wrong, I'm a happily married guy. It's just, what if you get into that one argument or something happens and it all ends? Now you have this certificate on your arm. You know, and like the same thing, I've even told my wife, I go, I'm not getting anybody's names on my arms or any part of my body. I go, because I don't know what the future brings for me. And this is my personal opinion. That's not something I would do. Would you?
No, I mean, he's trying to say, I love you so much. And he posted all over social media. Like nothing says I love you more than virtue signaling.
You know, I would really like to see the comments from his buddies, you know, on that, you know, that would be, because I know
he has friends.
What's that?
He probably doesn't have friends. His wife probably is like,
maybe, I don't know.
You know, I don't like any of your friends. Get rid of them. And then he's like, okay, honey. Oh, you want to get married? Okay, honey. Yeah, I'm going to get a tattoo.
Yeah. I had to question it.
Like,
you know, like, don't get me wrong. I'm great that, you know, you're in love. You know, I great. You're a happily married guy. And I love that, you know. But at the same time, you never ever know your future, man. That's all I'm gonna leave it like
Neal,
that. Is that it's not something
love doesn't last forever, but sometimes stupidity does.
Well, the remembering the stupidity of somebody always lasts forever.
At least a tattoo will. That's a big tattoo.
But to each their own. To each their own. Steve, what do you got for us?
Well, I got a little story. It's not from Thailand, but it's from China. A company in Chengdu, China, has been praised for asking both job applicants and recruiters to wear masks in order to avoid discrimination based on looks. Chengdu Ant Logistics recently made news headlines. That's a publicity stunt. After showing a video of its recruitment process that went viral on Chinese social media. Shot by one of the interviewees, the short clip shows several masked people waiting to be interviewed by the recruiter, who was also reportedly masked. The company has since put out a statement on the matter, claiming that the video was shot at its recent biannual recruitment fair and that the masked were introduced to eliminate the bias based on looks. The Chinese logistics company said a bizarre recruitment method was implemented to reduce the job candidate's stress levels, marketing ploy, and also to emphasize the fact that it values people's individual abilities over appearance. Because nobody discriminates based on gender or body type, right? It's just the face. That doesn't make sense.
I'm going to tell you something, Steve. That's a lot of nonsense. I'll tell you why. Okay, let's say that's your protocol on wanting to hire people, and because you believe in your heart of heart that you're hiring people because of who they are, not what they look like or anything like that, which is great. But when they come into the work environment, guess what, Steve? That mask's got to come off.
The mask comes off.
Yeah. I mean, that's just nonsense, dude. What kind of world do we live in?
How about this guy?
I don't even know what that is. I mean, that's a guy with a very bad haircut, number one.
Well, I mean, would you discriminate against his haircut?
I would discriminate against that crazy mask, wondering, what are you doing? Why are we doing? I would leave. I would get up and go, you know what? This is some kind of carnival. You know, I'd be like, if you guys are going to this extreme to worry about silly stuff like this, then you really don't care enough about the work that has to get involved around here.
They need this guy to come in and interview.
Now there, if we saw him, we know that this is a serious job. Don't
Would you
mess this
discriminate
job.
based on looks with this mask?
The Jason Voorhees?
Yeah. Like, oh, don't discriminate based on, you know what's behind that mask. You don't need to take that mask off to know that you don't want that guy working there. Look at that.
It's like you know that's the seriousness of this job now. You're not going to mess this one up. You see that guy, if he has to come around to your cubicle,
That's the boss.
that's the boss.
The boss man.
Then you better not have messed up, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that. But the whole idea that's just ridiculous and silly.
It sounds like a marketing ploy.
Maybe it is. I mean, actually,
Publicity stunt.
it is a good marketing ploy then, because it definitely got the attention of people.
That's called virtue signaling.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. We're so great. We believe in everybody's fairness, blah, 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 blah. Right. And then they try to get like people to go, oh, you are so great. But I don't know. I mean, people will find something else to discriminate against, right? It might be haircuts. It might be, oh, they can see if the person's fat. They might discriminate that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just about the face, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, then you should just put everybody in a box.
no, there's this thing about diversity, right? And embracing diversity, not covering diversity up, right? It's sort of like, oh, we'll just pretend there is no diversity. There is diversity, and you should embrace it, not hide it.
You are what you are.
Yeah.
And deal with it. You know,
Like,
I mean,
a lot of people tell me that I should cover my face, but I tell them, no, I'm not going to do it.
Tell them I'm special. My mama said so.
My mama is the one who told me, cover your face, boy.
Cover that face, boy.
Yeah.
All right. So, have you been watching any new movies or anything like that? Have you seen any new TV shows?
No, I haven't, but I heard you do. You've been watching some.
I'm gonna tell you something. Now, I'm assuming you've seen the old show, The Walking Dead, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, you saw The Walking Dead. I enjoyed The Walking Dead, but I actually discontinued watching it a while back because of it seemed very repetitive. Okay, so but just recently, HBO Max came out with a movie called The Last of Us. It is an American post-apocalyptic drama television series created by Mr. Craig Mazin and Neal Druckmann for HBO, based on the 2013 video game. There was a video game before this came out, developed by a group called Naughty Dog. Ooh, so naughty. The series is set in 2023, 20 years into a global pandemic caused by mass fungal infection.
2023?
Yeah.
Okay. That's now.
Which forces its hosts to transform into zombie-like creatures and collapses society. Now, I saw the beginning of this movie, and I'm not trying to give away too much, but it's about a fungal infection. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm up to date on all the episodes right now.
Right.
I watched like 3 of them in a row. The first episode is like an hour and a half long, if not close to 2 hours. And this is actually a really good TV show. What's funny is the main character, I think his name is Joe. I think it's Joe or Josh or something like that. He was recently on Saturday Night Live. Because what he does, he's escorting this young lady around who supposedly has the cure for everybody so they can get rid of this fungal problem that they have. You have fungal problem on your toes or something. So they have this fungal virus, and she cannot she can't get the virus. She has the cure in her blood.
Oh, okay.
So he has to transport her around. So what's funny is on Saturday Night Live, they did a skit where he was Mario. And he was dressed up like Mario from the Mario Brothers. And he was
video game.
The video game, right? Because this was based off video game, where he's escorting the princess from the video games, Princess Peach. I think that's
Peach.
her name. Yeah, Princess Peach, right? I mean, I played them back in the days, but I just forget. And he's escorting her around, and it's actually very humorous. So if you get a chance, watch that on YouTube. The Mario Brothers, The Last of Us.
I'll check it out.
Oh,
that's hilarious. A real thing, though, right? There's a fungus that I think it attacks ants, And
so what you're saying, okay, just so you know, this is actually a real thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And what they talk about, if you watch the beginning of this, the scientist explains, and he's freaking everybody out. It's set like in the beginning, 1960s or 70s.
Okay.
And he's talking about how if all of a sudden our body temperature or global warming, like we were just talking about not too long ago, it starts to go up. So then the environment around it has to adapt. So what happens if all of a sudden the body that we live in starts to go up a degree or two? And I think I'm getting this right. And somehow funguses will live inside you at a certain temperature. I could be completely wrong, but what I'm getting from it, it has to definitely deal with temperature and adapting to the environment for this fungi to live. It's actually really pretty cool, man. The last episode I saw, I'm not going to give it away, but it was bonkers, man. I was like, man, this is like a Walking Dead 2.0. I said, man, this is good. So I recommend this movie. I totally recommend this TV show. I recommend this on HBO Max.
Now I'm starting to feel bad about enjoying the weather.
Well, you know what? Watch it, and then I want you to think about the nice weather that we've been having. And I want you to watch it, and then just say to yourself, "Huh? I wonder if." And
maybe it's not me that likes the warm weather. Maybe it's the fungus inside.
Maybe it's the fungi
that wants to come out.
You never know, man. You never know.
You know, if we ever like open up a side business selling mushrooms, I want you to be my business partner.
Yeah.
And we'd call it the Fun Guys.
See, there you go again, man. Just so everybody knows, he's the one who came up with the concept idea of the Paranormal Guys podcast. Now he comes up with the Fun Guys.
Yeah.
We spell it like FUN-GAIS, the Fun Guys.
GUYS, yeah. Not GAYS.
Whatever, man.
That would be a different word. Then we'd be the Fun Gays.
All right. So
that's a different business model.
That's a totally different business model. All right. So
it's not mushrooms. It looks like it.
There's going to be a
not.
mushroom. All right. So, all right. So we're going to be leading in now to a couple messages from Graveside Paranormal, and then we're going to be bringing in a nice young lady from Minnesota. We're going to be talking about the Boyd House. She contacted us, and she wanted to tell us about this purchase that she had in Minnesota. So stand by, relax, and boo.
Hello there, this is Betty, and I'm here to tell you about Graveside Paranormal, the YouTube channel for all things paranormal. As someone who has been in the entertainment industry for many, many years, I've seen and heard some amazing things. But nothing quite compares to the mysterious and intriguing world of the paranormal. That's why I'm such a big fan of Graveside Paranormal. The hosts of this channel are two normal guys with a passion for all things spooky. And trust me, they deliver. From ghost sightings to UFO sightings, they cover it all. And the best part? They make it all so much fun. So if you're a fan of the paranormal or just looking for a good scare, I highly recommend subscribing to Graveside Paranormal. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a single episode of the Paranormal Guys podcast. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and join the paranormal party. I'll see you there. Boo.
And now, back to the Paranormal Guys podcast.
All right, we're back. Steve, we have on Miss Jill Shelley today from Minnesota. She reached out to us. She wants to talk to us about a house that she purchased that she calls the Boyd House. Let me give you a little background on it real quick before we bring her in. The Boyd House, located in southwest Minnesota in the small town of Boyd, 145 miles southwest of the Twin Cities. They offer private overnight stays at a real haunted house. Fred and Minnie Eckhart moved into the house in 1912. Fred was a well-respected businessman in town. He owned the general dry goods store. Fred was the justice also of the peace, served on the school board, the fire department, church board, and helped build the Lutheran church. Two of their children sadly passed away in their home. Minnie passed away in the home in 1955, and her funeral was held in the living room. That's what a lot of them used to do back in that day, Steve.
Yeah.
Fred passed away in the home in 1958, 3 years after. There has been evidence captured that suggests they are still here today. Many people have had experiences at the Boyd House. Reports include audible voices and EVPs, shadows and apparitions, doors and cabinets opening, footsteps being heard, touching, objects being moved, and paranormal equipment interaction. All right, Jill, come on in. Come on into the Paranormal Guys podcast. Thanks for coming out.
Hello. How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing really good.
Doing well.
So what I want to do is I want to find out a little bit about you first. Now, you're a paranormal investigator. How long have you been investigating?
Well, I've always been into the paranormal since I was really young. But as far as like doing any actual real investigation, I just met a great group of people in 2010. And then we formed our group, St. Croix Paranormal. And we just started out by just doing private homes, small businesses. And then we migrated off into doing the traveling around the U.S. to well-known haunted locations, just doing a lot more research. And that's kind of where I got the idea of purchasing my own haunted location and doing the same.
Yeah, that's awesome because, it's something that eventually me and Steve also want to do. We want to purchase our own place to also establish stuff like that. Like we rent out places and we bring people in because we start to learn the history of all the houses. And what we do is we bring in customers and we give them a whole night stay. What we do is part of our thing is we let them use all of our equipment and then we send them emails of all the evidence to them. So that's part of the experience that we try to promote with them. But what was the significant thing in your life that got you into paranormal?
Probably like the most. I mean, I had some smaller experiences when I was young, but the most one probably profound for me is at my grandmother's house. There was just one room that none of us kids liked. It was always really cold, unwelcoming. You just didn't feel like that you didn't know somebody didn't want you in that room. That's just the feeling that I got. One particular night, sleeping upstairs in the room adjacent to it, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was, I don't know, maybe 8 years old or something like that. And I heard footsteps coming out of that room and it stopped at my doorstep. And my back was to the door, but I could feel it like staring through me, like almost like a laser beam was like going right through me.
Right.
And, of course I'm a kid, so I'm like, oh my God. And I'm not turning around to look at this. And it, it just kind of sighed, turned around, walked back the other way. I knew it wasn't my parents, could hear them snoring in the next room. So that I knew it wasn't them. Asked my grandma about it the next day, and her room's downstairs. And she just really nonchalantly was like, oh my gosh, honey, that's just a ghost and he's not going to hurt you. And I was like, whoa, here's a grandma, super religious. I really adore her.
Right.
And she's just like, no big deal. So it's like, I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about them at that point in my life. It's like, what are they? And just kind of pushed me into the whole way I am now. So I did a lot of research, reading books and watching, TV documentaries and things like that. And like I said, with the advent of the TV stations that came out with all the ghost shows, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know you could really go off and do this. This is a thing.
Right.
So yeah, so I actually, we started off with like a camcorder, a voice recorder, and like a K2 meter. And now we've grown into, thousands and thousands of dollars of all kinds of gadgets that we got. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I understand that price tag. Believe me.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question: when you went to a real estate agent, this is what I got to know. You walk into a real estate agent. I'm assuming you walked into a real estate agent's office or something and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a haunted house, man." Is that how it kind of worked out, or did you research first? What happened?
Well, actually, yeah, nobody's going to really advertise your, hey, my house is haunted. Do you want to buy it?
Right.
So, actually, my realtor who I purchased the home I live in now, we got to know each other real well. And, I just knew I did the ghost stuff. And then I kind of reached out to her one day and said, look, I want to buy a haunted location. And of course, you need a realtor for that. So I just was the one doing the research, and she would just set it up and do her realtor portion. And, I would, we looked at other locations, that I would just kind of look through the MLS, with my age criteria, what I was looking for. And if I kind of, I'm not psychic or anything, but I kind of got a feel for things sometimes.
Yeah.
So, we went to a few places and it was like, maybe a few things or, I just didn't get the feels for it. But when I came across the Boyd house, I just like immediately was drawn to it. I just like fell in love with it. Like I almost have got a little obsessive with the pictures and stuff before we even went to go look at it. And so then we went down there to go do an investigation. So we do that plus, an inspection if we want to purchase the property. And probably just waiting outside and the realtor was running late. I was just sitting there with Donna, one of my other teammates, and I was like, yeah, I kind of feel like something's looking at you. And she's like, yeah, from the attic. And so we went in the house and you could feel that something was there, but they were kind of standing back, like they weren't really sure what was going on because the house had been vacant for almost a year at that point. So here's these strangers coming in and it's like, what's going on? But we did run the spirit box and we did get a woman say, who are you? And one of our REM pods was going off within 8 minutes in what's now the library that I've turned it into. And, we got a couple other things, but I was like, well, do I really, should I just trust my instinct here? So I asked a psychic medium I really trust, and she told me a bunch of stuff about the house. And as I have owned it, things have come true that what she said. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to reach out to the owners. I mean, they lived there 30 years. They must have had something, And, they were older couple, so they didn't really want to talk about it because, back then, if you were older, in that generation, if you talked about ghosts, you were nuts and crazy. People didn't believe you. So real hesitantly, but she said, oh gosh, I always thought that house was a little funny. She said, she said that she would sometimes hear old timey music playing. So she reached out to her children just to see if they had any experiences, and they had many different experiences, and they'd also see a man in the house. They would be touched. We've had people come forward in the town. It's a very small town, so a lot of still the same residents come forward and say, oh, when I spent the night there when I was a teenager, I got touched or I saw this guy. So there's kind of a long-standing history of, paranormal in the house. It's just the families that lived there did not associate with it. The one daughter that lived there, she basically was teased as she was growing up. So she was, the other kids in the family, they kind of had some experiences. The brother always blew it off like, as a brother would do, so it's not, you guys are nuts. But anyway, the one child got really persecuted really for the things that she said she saw in the house and experienced. And they all said, you're crazy. And then so she was so happy when I got the house and that she saw that she really wasn't crazy. So that made her feel better.
Oh, that's good. That's actually very important. Like we talk about when we do our tours and stuff like that through the Chicagoland area, where we go to people's houses, that they give us a call. Some people don't want to talk about these things because they're afraid to be classified as a nutball. Plain and simple. And, it's nice when someone like yourself is able to relate with someone. And it's always a good thing. That way people feel a little easier talking about those things. And I think it's important to talk about it because people have certain things that happen in their lives that are paranormal, supernatural, and they don't know who to talk to. So it's always good. So that was a good thing that you did, that you were able to relate with that person. So that's really good.
Yeah, I think it would help her resolve a lot of issues that she had growing up. So that helps too.
Right.
That's what we do. That's what we do stuff for,
So the second question about the real estate part, I have to ask. Okay. So when you first, Steve, did you have a question?
No, I was just curious if, do you live in the house?
I do not. No.
Does anybody?
No,
like, I'll rent it out.
Just the paranormal teams that come in.
Okay.
As much as I love paranormal investigating, I really do not want to live in a haunted location.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other things I had for you is before you even saw the real estate agent or anything like that, did you have like a criteria that you were kind of looking for? Like, can I find a house that people were murdered in, or something crazy happened where people had a cult-like activity? Was any of these things crossing your mind before you decided to go by yourself Did you have a certain one that you were looking for, or were you looking for like more of a where it's more spiritual type?
Well, I was just kind of looking for something that, was haunted and, something that I was drawn to. Of course, you want that cool backstory of murders and things like that.
Sure.
We actually went to a house where somebody was murdered, and I really didn't get any activity in the home at all. Not saying that house was or was not haunted, but, again, these are houses that, I'm just going off of instinct with mine. So they may or may not even have anything there.
Right.
So we're just kind of going with that. But of course, you always like the backstories and, if I could, I would love to just buy an old hospital or asylum or something like that. But that was not in my price range at the time.
Yeah, those asylums are a lot.
Yes.
Of
So someday, hopefully, or something like
you never know. You
or
never
like
know.
a smaller hospital or something,
Now, since you go back and forth from this place, have you ever noticed any activity back in your own home from possibly the Boyd home?
No, I usually I think they're more attached to their house than rather coming with me. Although, I do feel like we have a lot of passerbyers because, we do have the railroad that runs back behind the house. So that gives a little bit of energy. But I also think doing what we do at the house, with so many people doing different, I'm not there, so I can't control what everybody's doing. I can't say, oh, no, don't do a seance, So, who knows what type of portals may be opening or doors will be opening or just even, the energy that people are creating, it may be things drawn to the house because we get a lot of stuff. I mean, we get some of the same stuff, like I'm Fred's here, some of the similar ghosts that are there. But a lot of times I get names too that there's no, like I get Henry quite a bit. And on my deed, any history, I can't find a Henry, but that doesn't mean something didn't happen on that land long ago. There's just, then there's some that they even tell me, we're just passing through.
Because you never know. Like we were at, what was the name? Sally House.
Right.
We were at the Sally House, and I believe that house there is a house that's more like a portal almost. As well as what was that other house that we were at in Indiana?
Monroe.
Monroe. That's just weird.
Oh,
man. That's
Whispers Estate.
Whispers Estate. I believe there's definitely a portal at Whispers Estate in Elkhart. I think it's not in Elkhart.
It's in Mitchell.
Indiana. Yeah. I believe that there's a portal in that one.
Yeah, Teresa had actually gotten thrown out of that big closet there.
We got some of the best EVPs
ever that we ever had as a group.
From that closet. So she got physically thrown out of that closet?
Yeah, she was. It was interesting because we were running a spirit box and she was sitting in a chair that was way, like right to the back of the wall.
Yeah.
And I had a voice in my head that said, "Get out of this closet." And it was a male voice, but I was just kind of like, well, I don't really like being in closets anyway because I have a fear of the door shutting and getting locked in. That's like my worst fear.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of just chalk it off on my own paranoia. So I stepped out, but I didn't say anything to her. And at the same time, we were running the spirit box and it said, "Shut this door." And we didn't do that either. So next thing you know, her and that chair come launching out of the closet.
Oh, man. Wow.
Right in front of the railing. She landed on all fours. And it wasn't that she was leaning forward and she fell over, because if she did, she'd still be in the closet. She wouldn't have been out in the hallway.
Right.
So
yeah, part of our team got some of the best EVPs at that place. I mean, you could just feel the difference inside that home, especially that closet. Like, I have to be honest with you, I didn't want to go inside that closet, man. I was like, man, there's something not right in that thing. I could feel it. You see, I get impressions and I hear voices. So I knew there was definitely something wrong inside that house.
Right.
That was crazy. Yeah, we vowed we were never going back. But we did, like 4 years later. Teresa refused to go, though.
Yeah.
The second time around wasn't as intense as the first one. But that first one, it was the stuff we saw and experienced there was just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
For the Boyd house, I got a question about types of hauntings, Neal. So Jill, we talk about, Neal and I talk about different types of hauntings. There's like a historical or a residual haunting of things replaying in the past. And there's an intelligent haunting. And there's like the demonic kind of haunting. What would you call the Boyd house? What would you describe the haunting that's happening there?
I would pretty much say intelligent haunting. We've just gotten so many things that are interacting with you with what's going on in real time. So it's just, and we get EVPs as to responses as to actually what we're doing. It's just a lot. Like they really do know what's going on. They're watching you.
Right.
We've had comments on things we're doing, like, one particular thing, we were just kind of being really inappropriate at dinner time, just, having an inappropriate conversation that in the 1900s you would not be talking about.
Right.
And we got actually an EVP that says, "You're not very proper, are you?"
Really? Oh.
Yeah. And another one of my favorite ones is I was just cleaning in one of the rooms, and when I'm there, I just talk to the spirits as I'm having a conversation with you. And I was just rambling on about my week. I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to a wedding this weekend. Have you ever been to a wedding? I like weddings." And I'm going to wear this, and just was talking. So, of course, since I didn't shut up, I kind of drowned out some of the EVP. So she rambled on something, and then she said, "I'm trying to sleep." So, here this poor woman's trying to take a nap or whatever, and I'm in there just cleaning and just chatting away. So,
Now, what we're going to do is, Steve, we got some photos here, and I want you to take us through the house, kind of like if someone was coming in the house, because what we always do when we go to investigate, we go room to room to kind of feel out the house. So I want you to help us take us through the Boyd home and tell us what rooms these are. Steve, can you throw up the first?
Sure. Let me throw up this photo first.
Okay. So what room is this?
that's the library. So we got on one side, we have a bookshelf with some of the older books and stuff. So it's just kind of a really nice, I don't know, it's kind of a nice tranquil room. It's always just pretty peaceful in there. And I don't know, something just told me to do it that way. So.
Very red. It's very red. It's the red room.
Yeah, I would, if I were visiting, this room would be one of the first places I would want to do an EVP.
Yeah, like do you get a lot of activity inside this room here?
Yeah, we get some spirit box stuff. We've had some REM pods and stuff go off, but it tends to be one of the more quieter rooms. I think I haven't had a lot in there, but I always just feel really comfortable when I'm in there.
Okay, Steve, what's the next one?
It's
another red, red and black.
Yeah, it's kind of the theme. That's actually Fred and Minnie's bedroom. When they were younger, as they got older, their main bedroom ended up being downstairs. But that's just kind of the master bedroom is what we have that room.
Now, what's that? Is that a closet right behind there?
Actually, that's the door that there's nothing there now. But back in the day, in the 1900s, there was actually an upper balcony that you would step out to.
Oh, because I was like, man, that's a very thin. It's the same level as the window.
Right.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yep. So you could back in the day have stepped out on the balcony, but that is no longer there.
So if you open up that door, you'll fall out of the house.
Right.
Well, no, you'll step out onto the roof.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. They put a different peak and stuff in it. But yeah, so the actual balcony that they had we have a picture of the house back in the day, and you can kind of see all the trim that was up around there and stuff in the little balcony that used to be there.
So that's a picture of the original owners up at that.
Up in the corner. Yep, that's their we believe is their wedding photo. So
okay, I think you gave me a copy of that.
Yeah, I gave you a picture. This is them.
The picture.
Yep, that's Fred and Minnie.
Okay.
Now, if that was their wedding photo, who wears black on their wedding photo?
I don't know. I just feel like it's their wedding, but I'm not sure. So I guess But either way, that's a really nice picture we got of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're a very good looking couple.
Yeah,
Yeah, very good looking couple.
I'll go back to the room. I noticed that that's a Virgin Mary.
Yeah, actually, that is from my grandmother. So
nice.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that I remember being on the dresser, which was, by the way, the same room where I experienced my ghost thing. I just always remember that being there, and I always kind of felt protected having that. So,
right.
It just didn't fit in my home decor. So I was like, hey, let's bring it to the Boyd house. It'll fit right in. So
now that wallpaper, how old is that wallpaper?
Oh, it's newer stuff. Is
that new? I thought that was older era.
Oh, yeah. When we bought the house, and we actually have more fancier curtains now. That's an older picture. But yeah, when we bought the house, we tried to bring it back into the 1900s as much as we could. So we put up the old Victorian type wallpaper. We brought in pretty much mostly antique furniture. We just tried to bring it back to the way it was.
That looks great. That room looks like, like if you went into a time machine.
Right.
It really
Yeah,
does.
I love it. It's great. And ever since I put it used to be purple. But when I have put that wallpaper up, it sure made it really dark. So when the lights are off, you can't see anything.
Oh, wow.
All right, Steve, take us into the next photo, please.
Yep, that's the girls' room. So yeah, we ended up. I was kind of creepy. I took that dollhouse there and I made an exact replica of the Boyd house on the inside. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, how did these two girls pass?
Well, we just know of two of her. One was a child; she was infant, and then her other son choked to death, and his name was David. But we do have a couple adult children in the house, and I don't really know where they came from. And one we do know is Luke, and then one's name is John. And then there's also an adult girl, but I haven't actually got her name, but we think it might be Amy. So yeah, I don't really know where these kids come from, but we get a lot of kid activities. So they love the toys. We get a lot of kid EVPs, different types of stuff. So we have this one I turned into the girls' room. So it's got a lot of dolls and stuff now. A lot of our dolls are supposedly haunted. So there's just a lot of stuff. A lot of different.
What goes on with the dolls that they're supposedly haunted?
We actually got one from a psychic research facility, and I've seen her move sometimes. And the other one that's kind of creepy that I know of, when I got her, she has really, really piercing eyes, so everybody just freaks out at her eyeballs, and that's kind of what I was drawn to. I bought her from a lady who had a bunch of dolls that had, attachments to it. And she actually had a homemade bracelet on it with her name. Her name is Dodie, and she had that on her. And I put her in my van, and when I came back, because I went to go put something in my van later, that bracelet had exploded to where all those letters were scattered all over the van. So had it just broken fell, they would have just been in that little spot. There's no way it would have just totally exploded. There's no reason for it to do that.
Right.
So that was the first thing. And then, yeah, so we have her around, and I swear she makes faces and stuff. So it's
Yeah, that's kind of creepy, man.
Yeah. So we have those, and we have clowns around and stuff, just for the creep factor, Oh,
yeah,
so
you gotta have that,
you got to get the vibe going. Yeah.
Right.
But I've had a lot of old Victorian dolls and stuff. Now the creepy weird thing is, I had this doll that I got from my grandma, and it had a broken leg, and so I just fixed it with some duct tape because that's what you do. And, and we came back 7 months later. And there was another doll identical to her with duct tape on her. And we're where did this doll come from? And then now there's another mini smaller version of it. And I don't know where they keep coming from. So
wow.
I just keep joking. They multiply. It's kind of, I'm sure somebody brings them and leaves them, but it was just kind of uncanny.
You know what? That's what a lot of people do. Eventually I've noticed from going to a lot of these places, eventually some kind of trend happens where customers start, take for instance, the Whispers Estate, everybody leaves mirrors there.
Right.
Monroe House, people are leaving. What were they leaving? They were leaving something inside that house. I forget
I just
what
wanted
it was.
to leave that house. I did not like that one.
We got this EVP, right? Have you ever been to the Monroe House?
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, it was a pretty quiet night, but it was actually, I blame it. Well, it was because I was just with my husband at that time because the whole team couldn't come. Yeah. And so it's just kind of not his thing.
I thought we were having kind of a quiet night too, but it's all the evidence that you gather. One of the EVPs that we got there was, it goes like this. It goes, Neal. And then it stops and goes, please kill.
Right.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah, Neal was getting really
I was getting agitated inside the place, and I don't get like that.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous.
I'm glad he didn't listen because I was there.
Yeah, whole team be dead.
Yeah, we all be dead.
I'd be
The
locked
other
up.
thing we really got was we like every room we either had like a REM pod or something, K2, so just something to go off, and all at the same time, everything went off at once for just 15
Really?
seconds everywhere through the entire house. It was like this huge power thing. I was like, whoa, that was weird.
That is weird, man. All right, Steve, do we have any other pictures at home?
A couple more pictures. Here's one.
So yeah, that's the parlor. So we kind of turned it into, the old fashioned. We got the Victorian couch there. That's a Victrola. Good friend of mine gave me, belonged to her great grandmother.
Oh.
So it actually still works. So we were actually playing it one night. We had the SLS camera going.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden, this stick figure showed up, and it started tapping to the beat of the music.
Really?
And then it ended up moving to the green chair and sitting like with its legs crossed, still with the foot tap and the hand tap, going to the beat of the music. And then we just ended up finishing, playing with the, music, and we just moved on to another room. And I had taken the hand crank out of it, and when I came back to get something from that room and the computer was still running, I'm looking at it, and now there's a stick figure standing at the Victrola, kind of kept peering and looking over, like, where's the crank? Like they kept wanting it to play. I was like, oh, that's, yeah, I guess they still wanted some music.
I see that you still have those old Life magazines right there on that coffee table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got that because
Is that like Abraham Lincoln or something?
Yeah, it looks like Abraham Lincoln.
It could be. They're from the 40s and 50s. I know.
Okay.
The grandson of the Eckharts, Fred, and his name is Fred Eckhart as well. He's like 80 some years old. He still lives in town, so he had come over one day and kind of told us a bunch of stories about his grandparents and things that they liked. And he's like, oh, Grandpa, he would sit and he'd love them Life magazines, and he would sit and read those. And he told us they had a smoking stand over here, so we bought a smoking stand. And so, yeah, it was really kind of a neat to get to know Fred and a lot of his stories about his parents that you're never going to find in a book.
Now, one last question about that room. Who picked out those drapes?
I did.
Oh, dear Lord in heaven. Where in the holy heck did you find those?
Probably Amazon, I think. Yeah, I was just trying to look for something green and Victorian, and there's not really a whole lot of options out there.
It looks nice. I like it.
It does actually. It doesn't look that great in the picture, but if you're there in real, it just kind of complements the room actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It totally is a throwback. It's just that's the first thing I think, and I go, dear Lord.
Yeah, I don't know how the resale of this house is ever going to be if I sell it, because it's like I made everything look really old and outdated.
Yeah. Steve, do we got any other pictures?
I got one more picture from inside. Piano. Now, does this thing play by itself?
Yes, we have had notes caught on it. I've actually caught a note being played on it. Other teams have as well. I'll put REM pods and stuff on top of the piano. Those will go off. Usually through the years that we've had it now, pretty much the top of the piano has a lot of gifts that I've brought in for the spirits. And so every time I give them a new gift, I throw a REM pod up there. And if they like it, they'll hit it. But that is back in the day now. That was when Fred and Minnie were elderly. That was their bedroom, and they both died in that room.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Now, how did she pass?
She had a stroke.
Okay. And she died in that room?
She died in that room, and Fred also passed away in that room as well. He died in his sleep, so it was nothing traumatic.
Okay, right. He died like 3 years later, I'm reading.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go into start showing the evidence in a second, but it's that time again. It's time for In the Shadows with Shell.
Attention, all lost souls. It's time to get into the shadows with Shell.
Their pain is stored by Shell Ward. In the shadow of an old Wild West town, the Boyd house looms with its spirits bound. The wind howls through the windows and cracks, and the ghosts within, they scratch and attack. Their presence is felt in the chill of the air and the creaking of floorboards as they prepare to welcome the living who dare to roam into the Boyd house to make it their home. But the spirits won't be ignored, for they have suffered, and their pain is stored in every crack, in every room, and their fury will unleash like a sonic boom. For they were victims of a time long gone, when the Wild West was rough and life was a con. The ghosts of children who left much too young is a haunting tale that's never sung. And their laughter rings throughout the night, a haunting sound that fills with fright. Some met their fate at the hands of the law, or the gunslingers who left them with a fatal flaw. Now they haunt the Boyd house, their prison of doom, their anger festering like a flower in bloom. Their eyes watch as the living come and go, but they'll never leave, for they're trapped in the glow. There are spirits who haunt in the Boyd house's walls. Their screams and their moans are like a siren's call. They warn the living to stay away from the Boyd house where the spirits play. So if you're ever near that old Wild West town, don't let your curiosity drag you down. For the Boyd house, it's not just a tale, it's a place of mystery where the spirits prevail.
And now, back to the Paranormal Guys podcast.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much for your poem. We do truly appreciate it. Once again, that was Miss Michelle Ward with Into the Shadows with Shell. Now, Jill, we're going to now get into the part where we're going to start showing evidence that you showed to us. Steve, what can we pull up first?
Well, I think about 5 different recordings.
Okay.
So, Jill, do you have a specific one you want to start with?
Oh, no, I'll just throw them up there. We'll talk about it.
All right, I'll just put them in any order. Here we go. Whoa.
Now you can clearly go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
Yeah. Those are just 2 shadow figures that were actually caught in the kitchen. And that was actually caught by different paranormal teams. So that's from the Northern Outer Realm Paranormal Society. So they actually captured that in the kitchen. And, some people are like, oh, it's probably headlights. But it clearly, to me, looks like 2 body figures. And if you knew the outlay of the house and where the road is and the situations, there's absolutely 0 chance that is any headlights. There's no way nothing's coming through those.
No, it did look like a figure running through. I'm going to play that one more time, but in a different way so we can kind of pause it. Because I do want to take another look at that. Right, so I don't know if you see that. Kind of go back a little bit, Neal.
Okay.
To me, it looks like a person running at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I understand what you're saying, and yeah. I don't know the dynamics of the house,
right?
At least not yet. So I couldn't say yay or nay on that. But if you're getting activity like that, that's always great to get. Shadow people are some of the best things. We've come across so many shadow people in time we've been doing things.
We get a lot of activity in that kitchen, too. I've audibly heard voices in that kitchen. I've had things get pushed off in the pantry. Just so much noises. The cabinets that are in there, like from the 1950s, so they're that tin metal stuff. I've heard those banging in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Just so much different activity in that kitchen as well.
Well, all right, let's take us into the next one, Steve.
Sure. Let me pull up this one here.
Okay. Is that an EVP or a disembodied voice? EVP?
That's actually off of like our portal box that we were running. And it just says, don't hurt the people, I like them. And that was when we first opened it. So it was just a really clear one that I really liked.
Yeah, let's play it.
Let's play it one more time. I always have a good ear for this stuff, so. Yeah. I think it says something else in the end. I like them, help them in the end, help.
Yeah, the last little bit I couldn't clearly make out, but yeah, definitely.
Play it one more time, Steve.
Sure.
Yeah, it definitely has the word help in there, like help them.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that's a good grab. So you had the
Wow.
REM pod down there, and you had your recording box down there.
Are any of these dolls haunted dolls that you were talking about earlier?
Um,
Or are they?
no, not one of any of those that are in there. No,
Oh, okay.
One of these days, you're going to have like a ton of dolls.
we do have a ton of dolls already. I don't think we can get
Yeah.
it over.
I think that's what people are doing, right? They're just leaving you dolls. That's the thing at
Oh
the
yeah,
White House.
we do. Yeah, we do. The kids get a lot of gifts all the time. You know, I'm
Okay.
always like, oh, look what you got today. You know, so
It's
yeah,
Christmas every day.
people leave, quarters and dimes and nickels and stuff. So I was like, well, you guys are getting rich, because I don't collect any of the money. I just let it was a gift for the spirit, so I leave it there.
Right.
If you had like a really haunted doll, Neal, that you just needed to get rid of, would you just leave it at a place like this?
Well, so would I just leave it there?
Like
Yeah.
you might leave your kids in the middle of the forest because you're like,
Yeah, do you ever worry about something like that? Take, for instance, let's say someone comes in there. You're going to eventually come across, if you haven't already, of someone who is a total, like into probably trying to conjure something really crazy.
right.
There's people out there like that. And eventually someone's going to try to drop off a doll. It's going to be like that.
It'd be like, oh, we got to get rid of this.
Oh, we got to get rid of this.
Well, I guess we'll just have a lot more activity going on at the Boy
Yeah.
House.
Oh my God. All right, Steve, take us into the next clip, please.
Okay, let me grab another one here. Let's see.
What you got? All right, this is a card table or something.
Oh. Let's watch that one more time.
Okay. So
Now,
go
that
ahead.
was
Steve.
not leaning off the table to begin with. That moved to the edge and then fell.
Was it? Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, I had actually set up cards. That REM pod that's on the table was going on and off most of the night.
Mhm.
I had gone down there and I had brought like old coins and like buffalo nickels and things like that. And then one really big giant gold coin, and so that was the grand prize. I played poker on and off throughout the night, just shuffled the cards, things like that. But I always kept one card to the edge of the table. It was never hanging over. It was just real close to the edge.
Mhm.
And I had asked, hey, if you've had a great time tonight, just throw this card off the edge, and then we'll just I'll know that you like to play cards. And then, as you can see, at 12:14, they threw it off the table. So I was pretty excited that I captured that on film.
Nobody was down there at the time. This is just a camera standing there in the dark.
Right. Yeah. It was probably about 15 minutes later. I had come down there to say goodnight, shuffled the cards one last time, said, hey, throw it off. That'd be great. I'm off to bed. Good night. See you later.
Oh, so you did stay the night there. You did stay the night.
Oh, yeah. No, I spend the night every time I go. But yeah, I was just getting ready for bed. So I told them one last time to throw the card off. So when I came down the stairs in the morning, I was super excited that the card was on the floor. So I was jumping up and down. I was so excited.
So let me ask you this. Sometimes you spend the night. Do you ever have dreams, odd dreams?
Mm.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah? What can you tell us?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, you wake up and you're like, oh, that's weird. But then you don't really remember,
Okay.
So it's just nothing that's really prolific on there. I was actually told by a medium that Minnie watches over me because she really, really likes me and protects me. So she doesn't let them bother me when I'm sleeping because she likes the fact I clean the house. So
yeah, that's always good. My mom would have loved you. My mom would have loved you.
But yeah, we get a lot of card activity with the spirits. We knew in life that Minnie loved to play cards too, and we'll go down there. And a team did this, and so it gave me the idea of to start playing 21 with a K meter, and so we would start playing 21, and they were spot on. You'd hit the K2 if you want to hit. You don't touch the K2 if you don't want to hit. And they were spot on. It was insane crazy And then there's one time we were doing it, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to run the spirit box while I do it. They were doing the whole thing with the K2. They were, cleaning up. And I just said, well, hey, do you want to stay or you want to split on this one? And then right on the spirit box, plain they said, we'll stay.
All right. Now, you know what, Steve? I want you to play this again because I want to see something for a second. So play it from start again, please.
All right. Let me play it from start.
Now, I don't know why, but I don't know. Are those stairs there right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm seeing what almost looks like an outline of someone. I want you to pay attention to those stairs over there. Started from scratch all over again, Steve. We're at the top of those stairs.
Now you got me. I kind of see a
figure.
Am I imagining a face up there?
Right. So I want you to pull it back again, Steve.
All right. Let me play it one more time.
I don't know if it's the way the video is or what. I mean, I'd have to take it through the process of going through it, but
I don't know if I'm hallucinating this.
I don't know either.
In the corner of the stair at this frame, does it look like the lady from the picture staring back? Is that just my imagination?
We're actually seeing a face inside the video that you're sending us because me and Steve, we both saw this. So we will get to a clearer cut picture of that. We'll run it through different things on the computer for you. So let's go into the next thing of evidence.
Okay. Let's see. We got, I believe, a video file about Luke. Luke, I'm 8.
Yeah, I listened to this one. This one's good.
Can you tell me your name?
And play it one more time.
Can you tell me your name?
Are you using the SB11 on that?
That one I think is my Radio Hack Shack one.
What is that called?
It's a Radio Shack hacked up one.
Oh, really? All right. So, that was actually really good. So we, in the Chicagoland area, we actually come across something like that where what sometimes I believe them to be is manipulative spirits that pretend to be children. Once again, to lure you in to get obsessed with that, of doing that. I don't know if that's actually the case in point here, but we've actually come across things like that where like, by the way, it's a great grab. Awesome grab. But sometimes it might be a manipulative spirit pretending.
At least every time that Neal and I have been out investigating a place, we'll encounter, when we do encounter a child's voice, we notice that the investigation ends pretty quickly. The moment we go, I bet that's a manipulative spirit.
So, Jill, this is what I throw to you. I'm going to throw this to you that you only do it with your team. Say that when you're up there next time you're doing that and see if all activity ends. Because every time when we find out when we believe what something is and we call it out on what it is, all activity stops inside of wherever place we're in.
We had a ton of activity at the Sally House in Atchison, Kansas. And the moment Neal goes, I bet Sally isn't a little girl. It's a manipulative spirit pretending to be a little girl. Then all of a sudden, everything stopped.
You can feel the difference.
Single thing.
Yeah.
And it's like when you call it out, it disappears.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about that or came across like something like that?
Oh yeah, we've heard of that. I've never really got that feel from the Boyd House.
Yeah.
We don't even have. I don't feel like we have anything. Bad.
No one's getting scratched.
Oh yeah, no, and understand manipulative. Just because I use the word manipulative doesn't mean it's bad. It's
right, I'm just not getting like any bad vibe feelings, like because the kids that we do have, it's always the same name, it's always the same type of stuff.
Luke.
It's either Luke or it's John. They're very, very interactive. Actually, we just did a really good Estes with Luke, who showed up, not too long ago, because Teresa, she's been told by many psychics that she pretty much has the gift. So I have never Estes method seen with anybody the way Teresa does it. It's like having a full-blown conversation with somebody, like I'm having one with you, and it's insane. She knows what I'm doing, and mimicking stuff. Luke came to us and he's like, "Hi, Jill." I'm Luke, and you're like, "You know me, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know you, Luke." And I was like, "Can I bring you something?" He's like, "Well, I don't have any shoes." And I'm like, "Well,
really?
what kind of shoes do you want?" He's like, "Well, some blue shoes, size 6, please." So of course I brought some blue shoes, size 6. But we were even doing an Estes yesterday, and I actually had picked up a little kid's book that actually was one of my favorites as a kid. I didn't even remember it till I saw it there. I was like, "Oh my God, Sammy the Seal!" So I was like super excited to get this book and bring it down. And so we were doing an Estes, and John came through, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm 7," and we started asking him like, "Well, do you like seals?" And he's like, "Yeah, I like seals." And I was like, "Well, I just got a book with seals in it. Do you want me to read it?" "Yeah, I'll go I want you to read it." So I went and I go get it, start reading the book and making comments. And he's like, "Wait, go back. I missed that picture." So I would flip back. So I'm like, "There, see, you can see the picture." And then there was one, and then I started saying, "Well, Sammy's was swimming," and he's like, "I can swim." And I'm like, "Really? You can swim?" And I'm like, "Did you swim in a pool or in a lake?" And he's like, "Water."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Well, was it a pool or a lake?" And he's like, "Well, it was a pond." So it's just, I don't know. We just get like all this stuff. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So would you say the Boyd House is really best for people who would want to learn ghost hunting right off the bat? Like, it seems like a really cool spiritual type house where there's spirits there, where it's really where they're not going to go get that scream factor, but they're going to get that really nice, good feeling of making contact with the spiritual realm. Would you say that?
Yeah, it would be a good place for beginners, or even if you just want to go test out equipment, or even just get any interaction. Like I said, we don't have anything as far as our history is like some of the other places, like murders and brutal things that have happened. So we don't have a lot of that negativity type energy at the house. I just think everything is just really positive, very outgoing. You have men, women, children that you can interact with. And, not to say that there isn't bad things or evil things. We've had a couple, people come in and say that there is somebody that's kind of holding some spirits down. But I'm not psychic, so I can't tell you that. So right. I just go off the research that I get.
Mm-hmm. Steve, do we have any other evidence?
Yeah, there's one final video.
Okay.
Let me play that here for you. And
who's touching that?
All right. That's good. Man, you got...
So you get a lot of REM pod activity throughout the home.
Yeah, in different areas. So I was just a couple videos just showing, but pretty much every room in the house has at some point has had a REM pod go off in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fake cat, right?
Yes, it is. It's actually he's that's Scrappy. He's motion detected and touch, so he won't really meow or anything like that if he has motion or touch.
Oh, okay.
That's what.
Because if the REM pod went off next to my cat, it'd be. You wouldn't see it for a day.
Yeah, we like a lot of the interactive things. Now Scrappy there, he's not even meant for ghost hunting, but we buy a lot of things that are motion or touch activated because it's no different than any other paranormal piece of equipment. Right. So we think, animals are really good for getting things going. Whether kids, I mean, who doesn't like animals? Most people do. I brought this REM pod cat. Actually, that was made for ghost hunting, but she's basically a REM pod with a lifelike cat look to her. Oh, and really? I brought her to Indiana State Sanitarium, and she was a hit. So she went off a lot.
Wow. Now, how many people do you allow inside the house for an investigation?
We just allow up to 8 people, just because, the house is 2,100 square feet. but it's the old grates and the floors and things like that. So you can hear, what people are talking upstairs, downstairs.
Right.
So, it'd be really easy for cross-contamination. So just to kind of keep it down to a minimum so people actually have an enjoyable experience, I just usually allow 8 people in.
Now, what time do they start and what time do they end?
Well, I let you come in about 3 p.m. and then you can stay up till noon the next day.
Wow, that's very reasonable. That gives you more than enough time.
Yeah, because I figure, things that we used to do when we travel, like, hey, if we had our own place, what would we change about this place?
Right.
What would we want about this place? So we decided time was a big factor. So you kind of get enough time to come in, you can get set up, then it's time to eat dinner, then you can, investigate half the night, and then, go to bed at like 3, 4, or 5 in the morning, sleep for a little while, and pack up and go home. So
Wow. And how much are you guys charging?
just $200 a night.
Oh, wow.
For a group of 8.
For a group of 8. I know everybody says it's cheap, but I want people to come. I'm not as long as I'm paying the bills, and most of the money we do, it pays the bills and it helps towards some of the renovations of the house. I'm happy. So I just want people to come, and I want them to share evidence. And I love watching what other people get. So I love my house, so I love everything about it. So I just want people to come.
Where do folks go to learn more or to contact you about this?
We do have our website, which is boydhouse217.com.
Okay.
You can also email us at boydhouse217@yahoo, and then you'll also find us on Facebook under Boyd House as well. So you can just check us out there.
All right. I have to say, Jill, for $200 from 3, I don't think anybody else does 3 o'clock till noon. I had to be honest, and you've gone to other places. Nobody's doing that for $200.
Oh, I know that. So yeah.
So I would highly, like I was telling Steve, that maybe we're going to shoot out there in November. I don't know how your schedule is right now, because
we're starting to fill up a little bit. We're booked out weekends until June as of this point. So yeah, you can our calendar is on our website too, so that shows you what's available.
So do you go year round, 365?
Yep. It's just if you want to brave the cold Minnesota winters and the sometimes rough roads, have at it in the winter, but we are heated, and then we have window units in the summer for air conditioning. It doesn't keep it super ice cold, but it makes it bearable.
Cool. All right. Well, I have to say, it sounds like a good time. If you're starting to become a beginner, or you're into just wanting to just speak with some spirits or something like that, I think Jill's got the thing for you with the Boyd House, located in Minnesota, in the town of Boyd, southwest Minnesota. I recommend it. And Jill, thank you very much for coming out and reaching out to us and wanting to talk to us about your home.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was super fun.
Cool. Steve, you got anything to say before we leave?
We're going. I don't know when, but this is definitely on our list. Yeah.
This is on our list now? All right.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, boo.